Okay, there are basically 4 types of personality. This is not new to Taylor Hartman. Hippocrates and Jung for many years talked in terms of 4 types of people. The difference is none of them used motive to describe people. What they said was, if you behave this way, you therefore are this way. That is not true. That's rather obvious since I, a yellow, scatterbrained and irresponsible, have a Ph.D. My behavior does not represent my personality. But you see, I have a very strong red mother at home. And it was easier to stay in school than face Attila. So my behavior appears to be that I am extremely responsible and dedicated, when that is not the case. I'm just chicken. And so when I talk to you about your motives, I'm talking about what really drives you inside, and that is the gift that I am offering to you. And I must tell you, the thing that I love most about this is the truth that you will find over and over again. It is not what you do that I care about. It's what is in your heart that drives you to do what you do. I will first give you a sense of who you are. That's the first thing. And some of you will struggle more than others. There may be a couple reasons for that. Number one, you may just simply be screwed up, okay? And people that have a hard time finding themselves sometimes are all over the place and they don't know where they stand. On the other hand, you may be very charactered. You may have grown in life and added so many nice touches to yourself that you're able to find yourself. It's difficult to find yourself, is what I'm saying. So it really is interesting to me with the color code. It's geared for healthy people. And yet, the most charactered and the most unhealthy are the tough ones to find. So no one can dictate what it is. And also remember, the book goes into much more depth than I can do in an hour talking about the colors. But to start with the colors, we need to start with one of the 4 personalities. And I can tell you right now, I always start with the red because they beat me up if I don't. Now, this is how the Reds see you. And I have to tell you, you're looking sicker and sicker. These guys are tough cookies, let me tell you. They are the King Kongs of the jungle. They run the show. They make things happen. They build the bridges. They don't care to cross them. That's for the yellows to do. But they like to build them. Reds are motivated by power. You will never know a red in your entire life that is not motivated by power. They love to get the job done. Now, if you happen to be in the way, that's your problem, not theirs. Heavy-duty people. Let me tell you some of the strengths and some of the limitations of each of the colors. Those of you that have grown character, you may find that some of the strengths remain with you, whereas some of the limitations were you younger, and you've passed them along in favor of better strengths from other colors. But everybody has strengths. And unfortunately, we all have limitations too. To give you some insight into the red type personality, some of their natural kinds of strengths tend to be leadership. These are incredible leaders. They speak their mind and they go through life on a beeline. They're so busy climbing the mountain, they don't take time to necessarily look all around them, but they're going to get to the top and they're going to show you how to get there as well. There is no personality I would rather be with if I were hurt in the mountains than a red. They could care less how I feel, but they'll get me down the mountain. Okay? The blue will cry with me, and we will be sorry for ourselves, and we'll talk about our crummy mothers together. But I'll die right there on the mountain. Reds are wonderful about taking leadership. I have a red daughter who's 13 going on 37. And when she babysits for us, I want you to know, all the kids are in bed. They're in bed or they're dead. I mean, one of the two. You don't cross this girl. And so on. And of course, the house is a mess because why would she do that? That's for a blue wife to do. What else does she do, my red daughter thinks. But the next morning when I say to her, Tara, a little compassion, kindness, you should treat them more gentle. She says to me, Dad, let's face it, if you were a better father, they wouldn't be so screwed up. And she means it. And she's right. It's very hard to deal with reds because they often do know what is right. They really often do have that. Reds are also very decisive. The reason most red business people are so successful is because they make decisions and they move on. If they make 51% of their decisions they know that's good. Because the 49% would have worked had you not messed up on them. Had they done it would have come through right. Reds don't get caught up in, woe is me, I should have done it better, because it doesn't build power. So you won't see a lot of depressed Reds. They'll make you depressed, but they're not going that way. It doesn't give them anything. What's the advantage to a power-based person to be a martyr? There is nothing to be gained by that. Reds are very, very responsible people. They speak their mind and they get the job done. Now, if you want to know what color you are, then and you wonder if you're a red or something else, I can tell you right now, Reds operate on logic. Right? Right now, the Reds are saying, so what's the point? There is no point. I'm a yellow. I'm having fun. Relax. No, Reds want to know what's the bottom line. I can guarantee you, anyone ever married to a Red, you were either very good looking or had lots of money. And you know why? They don't do charity for marriage. They don't marry someone and say, I'll help you, I'll fix you. Blues love to marry the handicapped. They love it. We'll have you in no time, up and walking around. You'll be fixed, you'll be happy, watch it. Okay? Reds marry someone that looks good on their arm, that makes things happen. Up and going and making things happen. Now, if you walk into a hotel room, you've made reservations for the night, and you're red, and you say, I'm Taylor Hartman, and the clerk says, I'm sorry, we have no Taylor Hartman on the computer. If I am red, there is no emotion. My eyes roll back till all you see is the white. My dorsal fin comes out, and I say, no, excuse me. I have a room or you don't have a job. And I will get a room or you'll put me up across town and pay my cab fare, and I will never come back. You know why? Because I hate incompetence. Reds cannot stomach incompetence. The Reds, when I run out of books today, they'll say, well, what an idiot. Doesn't he know? You should know. You have to bring enough books. Reds can't stand people that don't make sense. Driving. They can't stand people that make left turns from, the wrong lane. They want people to make sense. If you're blue, you go to the hotel clerk. You say, excuse me, I'm Taylor Hartman. They say, we don't have you recorded. I immediately panic and get emotional, check my wallets, check my pocket. If you're a woman, you check your purses. You know you called 13 times to reserve this room. You have a confirmation number somewhere, and you feel guilty. If you are blue and Mormon, Catholic, or Jewish, you're dead. Write it off. Guilt is your middle name. You love to feel guilty. It makes you feel like you're alive and moving if you can feel guilty about something. Now, if you're a white personality, you say to the clerk, it's not a problem, I'll take the couch in the lobby, wake me if you get a room. Very easygoing people. And if you are a yellow, you have an hour conversation with the clerk. You do not get a room. But they take you home for the night. God has given us all a way to get through life. Okay, we all have our way. Now, Reds are also very pragmatic people. They want to know whether they can get something done in a certain amount of time and move on with life. And they're very proactive, up and going. They get up and they make things happen. My mother, this Red, she's had 2 strokes, which left her totally dysfunctional. She's up and going again. She runs all of us around from this wheelchair she sits in. She does everything she wants to do, and I keep telling her, God will not take you, Mother. I guarantee you're here forever, okay? I called her just the other day, and it's just to show you how sick I am. I said, is this Mrs. Iva Hartman? She said, yes. Well, this is the mortician. I understand you've been calling about plots. She goes, this is not funny. I said, you don't want to talk about your dad? She goes, this is so rude, and hangs up. So I call her back and I say, Mother, Don't you recognize your long-lost son? She goes, you haven't been long and lost long enough. Up and going. I wanted to play tennis the other morning, and I said to my red daughter, I'm going to call some friends to see if they can play tennis. And so I called around about 5, 6 people. Nobody was home or could play. So my daughter says to me, I'll play with you. I said, Tara, that's not really tennis. I mean, all right, let's go. 2 seconds later, the phone rings. Can you play? I'm home. I just got home, got the tape. Love to play with you. I said, Tara, what can I tell you? You know, I'm not going to play with you. She goes, Dad, you are so screwed up. I said, well, excuse me. I want to go play tennis, and this offer came here. She goes, Dad, I do not agree with what you're doing. It's so rude, and it's not kind. I said, no, it's not, but I'm going to go do it anyway. Just then, I got up to go put my tennis stuff on, and my watch, the spring, hit the table and broke. She goes, see? Even God agrees you're screwed up. And then it's over. It's done. Now, my blue wife will remind me 20 years from now, do you remember that time you should have played tennis with your daughter? Negative side of Reds. Reds are selfish people. There's not one of them that don't ask, what's in it for me? They want to know what they're going to get out of it. It's very important to them. Reds are also very insensitive. Reds do not think about feelings. They simply act on thoughts. You're dating a red man? I'll tell you right now. You say to him, honey, hold my hand. He'll say, for how long? What's the point? Where are we going with this thing? They want to know what's in it for them. They don't really get a sense of that intimacy. And lastly, Reds can be very arrogant people. Reds know everything about everything.